Maven Nation, we won't create a more balanced lifestyle by wishing for it. We must be intentional to demand it. I invite you to move away from burnout, to move away from delaying your self-care and feeling guilty when you rest. Let's embark on a journey where holistic care, confidence building, and leadership unite. Maven, you are CPR, capable, prepared, and ready. Now, let's create success with sameness. All right, Jourdan. So let's jump into this conversation with the ladies and men, but predominantly women that will be watching us. So we're going to be really focusing on talking about content creation without craziness, right? We know we need to create content. And then how do we monetize it? Listen, it does none of us any good to have these cameras, mics, lights, all these things and make no money from it. So we're definitely going to talk about the money component. But let's start with, in your bio, I read that you sold a comedic web series. So let's talk a little bit about that, how you got started
Mm.
in the content world and how COVID made clearly a wonderful pivot for you, led you in that direction. So share a little bit with us how you got started with all of this.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to have this conversation because content does not need to be all the things. We can keep it very
Right.
minimal. So my journey started when I graduated college back in 2010. My first job was at the Maury Show.
Okay.
So all your baby mama drama, all the you are not the fathers, like that was my life for a good 3 years. That was my first taste of production and just content in general. It was a syndicated show. It was, I think, iconic of its time, and conflict TV.
Yeah.
And so I spent some time doing that. And after just being enthralled in conflict every single day, I decided to start working for a marketing agency that I was working for part time. It was in the
Okay.
spirits and wine industry. And I was doing the tastings, but then I got promoted to actually manage all the sales models for the brands that were in our portfolio. So that's then when I started to get a taste of marketing and content and really using content to advertise brands and making sure the clients were happy. And I enjoyed doing that because that allowed me to focus full time on being in front of the camera. I really wanted to act, be in commercials. I was starting to audition a bit more, and this job was very flexible and allowed me to work from home, in addition to really checking on the sales models. And I just remember Myra being casted for just the wrong roles. Like
Okay.
the angry black woman, the mistress. I got so many like the other women roles. Like it was too much. And so a friend of mine and I at the time decided to co-create a comedic web series.
Okay.
A web series that highlighted women of color being funny and being actors in New York City. I was in New York at the time, and we
Uh-huh.
just really played heightened versions of ourselves. We put all of our money into it in season one, shored up all of our friends to actually shoot it and be actors in it. And we put it on YouTube. We were in a lot of festivals, we got a lot of traction. And I was like, okay, this is something.
Right.
And just really maintaining the relationships, I feel like, are just so important in what I continued to do. I had a friend at BET at the time, and he asked if they could view it and potentially buy it, as they were looking for more content for their digital side of things. And so, yeah, it went through. They fully funded season one. We actually paid the people that put out their sweat equity in season one,
Okay.
and it was a thing. I really thought that developing and producing was going to be the thing, and then COVID hit and everything shut down. Everyone shut down. And I really didn't know when I'd be back on camera. I was doing home auditions, but again, we didn't really know when the world would open up.
Right.
So I started doing my own thing. And that looks like just reaching out to businesses and seeing, if they needed content created. And that's kind of when things started to snowball a bit.
Listen, the authentic stories, right? How we can have in our heart this end thing, like this is the passion, this is the thing I love. And oftentimes I want women to hear this, that those, when you see those of us that are living our passions, we didn't have an absolute clear, crystal clear picture of what
Mm,
it looked like. But I do believe that when we're clear on the thing that brings us passion, brings us joy, fulfillment, that we love, God starts directing, the path to get us. We could not have written these things down for how they have happened.
mhm.
So that is actually when Jordan and I connected in the pandemic. I think, Jordan, how I first connected with you was via Luminary.
Oh, really?
Yes, I saw something you did on Luminary. I've shared with Kate that Luminary was kind of like a reconnected lifeline in the
Yeah.
pandemic for all of the female founders, that we were all in the same place, virtually
Mm.
nonetheless. But I found some good, like, kind of restarting of my feet.
Same.
Um, and to kind of keep going. And I saw something you did, and I was like, huh, I should talk to her. I should talk to her.
Mhm.
And her, Jordan, helped me with really the biggest thing it helped me with is clarity around those pillars that you teach. Content pillars. Like, it can be so overwhelming to try to get all your thoughts and ideas and things, and like, how do I make this a story and a reel and a post and a,
Right,
without just feeling like, you know what, throw the whole thing away.
right.
Throw it all away. It's
All of
too
it.
overwhelming. Um,
Mhm.
so I feel like that was one of your amazing strong suits, is really helping with clarity around pillars. So I want you to talk a little bit about that, because oftentimes when I'm talking to women, and I'm plus 50, gratefully a wonderful 53, women my age are just like, girl, I cannot with the reels and the this and the that. And it just seems like every month there's something new and some new
Mhm.
algorithm. What's what do you tell women that are like, I quit. I quit
Yeah,
the content. My business is just going to have to do it some other way.
yeah,
What do you say to those clients that are just kind of feeling they want to do something, but it's just too overwhelming? What does
yeah.
that feel like?
First of all, 53 where? I don't understand, so that's a goal. That's first and foremost. Um,
Thank you.
I hear that a lot. I think
Mhm.
that you have to determine how you want to show up online
Mhm.
and not allow social media to do that for you. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
It
Um,
does.
I think you have to tap into your capacity, tap into your lifestyle, tap into, realistically when it comes to social media. And I'm talking past like the I don't want to do it, but
Right.
how often can you show up and what
Right.
does it look like for you? If it's not the reels, it doesn't have to be the reels. If
Right.
it's not going live, it doesn't have to be the live. If it's not creating graphics on Canva, it doesn't have to be those things, but I would at least ask that you try, right?
Yeah.
So before you say, I'm not doing it, it's crunchy, I'm over it, no thanks, at least try. Because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's going to feel crunchy. None of this is natural, but
Right.
as marketing has evolved, as owning a business has evolved, we have to as well,
Yeah.
right?
I
So
love
it
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's finding that
And that is the after I went through my coaching with you, got clear on the pillars. For me, it was the consistency. What
Mhm.
can I be consistent
Right,
at? And then really digging into the data to say, where is my audience?
right.
Where are they? And for me, they're on LinkedIn and they're on YouTube. Okay.
Beautiful.
So I'm consistent. They are definitely in my email list.
Yeah.
So, listen, what consistency looks like for me with content is a blog a month,
There you
an
go.
email a month, a
There you go.
video a month. Like, but inconsistently, like, I sat down and created the strategy of how is this going to happen?
Yeah.
I can write the blog and come up with it, but I need my assistant. Shout out to Tiffany. for finding the image and putting it where it's supposed to be and all of that stuff. So I love that you are not telling people, okay, your content creation has to look just like this. You've got to do the work to say, what does consistency look like for me? And most importantly, that consistency needs to be where your people are, right? I don't do a ton of stuff on Instagram
Yep.
because I make no money on Instagram with my particular audience, but I
Right.
do show up there with things, and it performs fine, right? But ladies, you can't throw in the towel on content in general because as Jordan says, as the marketing evolves, if you want your business to grow, we have to evolve with that.
Yeah.
And with that evolution, what does it look like for you? So tell me, I know I watch your videos, your lives sometimes, and that consistency. How do people find, and ladies know that this some of this is trial and error. Like you try a thing, like, oh crap, that didn't work.
Absolutely.
How do you encourage your clients to keep going? Like find the next thing.
Yeah.
What worked for you? What are those tools and plays that you're encouraging them to do?
Yeah. So the framework that I created and teach from are the three C's. So it's clarity, content, and consistency, right? And so we need all three of those things. You can't just have clarity and content without consistency because then you're inconsistent, right? You can't have
Right.
clarity and consistency without the content because what are we posting, right? And you can't have content and consistency without the clarity because that leaves your audience confused. They don't know what you do, they don't know what your offers are, all the things, right? And so when I think about the consistency piece of things, there's a couple things that I've seen with my clients that fuel that. One of the things
Okay.
I think is so important is community. I feel like community really helps, especially women entrepreneurs. Primarily on the B2C side of things work with heart centered, service based female entrepreneurs. And
Yeah.
so, what I've seen in this space is that when we have each other to go through these crunchy moments, or I don't know how to do this, or nobody's showing up from my live, can at least one of y'all show up from my live at 6 o'clock? Like, when you have that, it allows you to build that confidence muscle as you continue to put in the reps. I think community is hands down one of the most game changing situations when it comes to content. It also cultivates your authenticity, right? So when you're in a space with a bunch of women, at least in my case, that are cheering you on, rooting you on, say, oh, girl, that reel was good. Oh,
Right.
I love that live. It's like you have that positive reinforcement before you go out on the testing ground, right? In front of people that you don't know, people that, are random, maybe a troll, right? So I think that's important. And then I think the other thing that's been really helpful with my clients when it comes to consistency is batching. So
Okay.
spending time to create more than one piece of content at a time and extending the shelf life of each piece of content that you post, right? So one piece of content shouldn't be one, it should be 3 to 5 to 10 pieces of content across the platforms that you mentioned, Myra, where your audience is, right? So, how can you take that blog post and then turn it into an email, and then take the top 3 points and turn it into a reel, and then take those top 3 points and turn it into a carousel, and then put it into your stories? Like, how can you stretch the shelf life of one piece of content so that you don't feel like you're always showing up or you're always on every single time?
I love that, and this is a question that I didn't even have in my notes, but it just came
Mhm.
to me when you were talking. And I know I've incorporated a lot more use of artificial intelligence of
Mhm.
AI. Because when you think about if you create a long format video,
Mhm.
okay, you can use AI to get the full transcript of that. You
Yep.
can create clips from the long format, right?
Yep.
So how have you found AI to be your friend?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Most of my audience is black women.
Mhm.
Black women. You
Mhm.
cannot be afraid of technology. Please hear me. Listen, we're not saying that you need to let it rule your whole world, but there are pieces of technology that are so critical to
Mhm.
you growing with sanity.
Mhm.
creating content without craziness, right?
Mhm.
Let
Mhm.
technology support you so that, if you have one piece of content that you can get five uses out of, you now don't have to create five individual
Yeah.
things. That is overwhelming, right?
It's a
Because at the
lot.
end of the day, you still have to run a business, take care of yourself and your family and all those other things. So how have you used AI and encouraging your clients to use some of these, like, seems like weekly new tools that are coming
Mhm.
out?
Yeah, it does seem like weekly. I mean, I think for me, I really love ChatGPT. I
Hmm.
really use ChatGPT as a conversation starter or an idea starter. One thing that my team and I have kind of gotten comfortable doing, and again, I don't think we've talked too much about this, but a process is so important, right? So if you're
Yeah,
constantly doing the same thing over and over, build out a process for it. And a
right.
process could be you recording it and then transcribing it using, AI, right? And having that done. Um, but one of the things we've been doing is taking some of the content that's performed really well on my Instagram in my
Hmm.
B2C market, right? And transferring that same knowledge to my B2B market on LinkedIn, right? So on
Okay.
LinkedIn, I'm speaking to corporate buyers that serve and sell to small businesses. So, how can I take that beautiful content that we've already created and have it speak to my buyer, right? So, we take a lot of the captions or we take a lot of the concepts and we plug them straight into Chat GPT, which is my language, everything that I've already
Hmm.
ideated and created, and have it speak to a different buyer. And that's been so helpful. I've been consistent on LinkedIn, I think, for the past 6 or 7 months now. And we're posting
Okay.
3 days a week. And I'm barely coming up with new content for that platform.
Yeah, I love that. And listen, ladies, that's a hot tip. That's
Mhm.
write that one down. Pursue that because I use it the same way, because you can't speak the same language on LinkedIn that you speak on
Mhm.
Instagram, right? There
I
is a
agree.
conversion there, and your original voice is being dropped into Chat GPT, so it knows your language and it's just convert. You tell it, tell me this in a different way for this
Yep.
platform. You touched on process, and
Mhm.
listen, process has saved me.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty process driven business owner,
Okay.
because I'm very organized in that way. Like that's how my brain thinks, and I need that to happen for me to have peace in my life.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my brain's going all night, and I'm not sleeping because I'm trying to pull all the pieces together. And if I can just create the process, then my brain is like, okay, she has
Okay.
it. It's captured,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So, and again, for me, that's tools like the Google Suite.
Mm.
I put something in there, a spreadsheet or whatever. My assistant can look at it. The editor can look at it. Everybody can get to what they need to get to because it's in the cloud, right? And we're
Right.
not sending emails and things like that back and forth. What do you encourage clients to do for a process? Because I think the process, that's probably 60% of the work, right?
Mhm.
If you
Mhm.
can create a process, then you can drop the things into that process or know when they're at least supposed to happen without overworking your brain on, okay, what am I doing today? Like, what do I
Right.
need to do this week? That's
Right.
overwhelming for the best of us. So let's talk a little bit about process, what it should include, what it should
Yeah.
look like, all of those things.
Yeah. So great question. Question, Myra. Your video is blurry. Should I care about that or no?
No, it'll clean it up.
Okay, perfect.
Riverside
Um,
bill, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, as far as process goes, I love that you are a process girly, that you need to have things like mapped out. I am not. I am not. I am a visionary. I am like, I need my team to organize this chaos. I dream really big and I want to do all these things. And my team's like, okay, sis, but how are we doing this? Like,
We can do them all today.
yeah, that's kind of my brain. So if that's your brain, I feel you, people that are listening. A few of the things that I think have been beneficial process-wise for me is a content calendar. My content calendar started as a big paper desk calendar where I
Okay.
literally wrote my content on. That's where I started. That's where it felt good. I was a paper planner girl for a very long time. Now I have it in my CRM, and we use ClickUp so my team can see it. I think
Okay.
a process that you can start to do right now, because a lot of times when it comes to creating content, we think we need to innovate and create new things. Go into
Right.
your folders, into your videos, and start create a folder that's maybe called postable or my mission, and start to add photos or video in there that you could or would share on social media so
Okay.
that you have a space of content to pull from. I also think, a process that's really helped me going back to that batching side of things is batching my captions, right? So sitting
Mhm.
down and writing out my captions for the month for each post, right? Instead of feeling like I have to do it in real time every single time, that's a bit overwhelming. But if I
Yeah.
can put on some music, maybe get some tea, look at my content calendar and see the ideas that are coming up and just start to free flow and write, that's been really
Mhm.
helpful for me, for sure.
So, in this world of content, trends are always happening, and what's your thoughts on that? Should people be, should people be trying to keep up with all these latest and greatest things, or is there kind of a your lane, but some flexibility in that lane
Mhm,
where you check out a trend. If it's not your thing, then don't worry about the thing,
mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm,
Well, how often should people even be like, it's almost a distraction, but some of
mhm.
is needed, right? How often should you even be kind of paying that much attention to the latest trend and all the things that are always happening? What's your
Uh,
rule of thumb? Or do you have a rule of thumb? Or do you kind of A B test it and that worked, it didn't work, and kind of go from there?
yeah, I'm probably not the rule of book type of educator, coach. I'm all about take what you need, leave what you don't, right? I feel like if
Okay.
it feels good, if it works, if it's in your best energy, like continue to do those things. But again, I don't want you to shy away from trends because of fear, right? If
Okay.
there's a difference between like fear and this is not aligned with who I am, where I'm going, my higher self, like there's a difference there, right? And
Right.
so I really encourage trying things. Like I remember when Threads came out, I tried it and I was on it for a good like week. And then
Two
it's
days.
yeah,
That
and then
was
we're
it.
done. Yeah,
It's
we're
like,
done.
okay. Yeah.
But like
Yeah. Yeah.
LinkedIn, I was let me try LinkedIn and it's felt so good. Again,
Yeah.
there's where my B2B buyers are. A lot of my clientele also comes from Instagram over to LinkedIn. So I've been
Mhm.
staying in that trend and it feels really good. I've tried TikTok. Yeah. Nope.
She said, that wow. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I completely deleted my whole TikTok account. I just was
See?
like, this is a distraction for me. For
Mhm.
me.
It's a
Because I
lot.
knew I wasn't going to create content over there that was going
Mhm.
to lead to increasing my revenue. So it's
Mhm.
like, just no, I'm just
Mhm.
not. I can
Mhm.
only scroll when I need some moments of dead scroll. I can only have one. That's
Yeah.
Instagram. And
Yeah.
I just, again, so ladies, we're talking about various things, but no, we're telling you, you got to know you. You got to know what's going to feel good for you and work for you. And just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean that you have to do it. Now,
Mhm.
don't not give it a try because of fear. That's what Jordan said.
Yeah.
Don't let fear be the determining factor. So, women have gotten clarity. They've, written some content. They've built out when they can be consistent. Okay. If that's
Mhm.
3 times a week, once a week, Myra, once a month, whatever it
Yep.
looks like,
Yep.
how do they now start looking to have this content be a revenue stream for them? Or maybe it's not the direct stream, like maybe you don't become an influencer where you make money off of a video, but someone
Mhm.
sees that video that is a buyer who now
Mhm.
wants to do business with you. What do people need to look for, think about kind of on the front as they're creating content that can lead to some revenue?
Yeah. So, not speaking from the content creator influencer side, I'm speaking from, like you said, the business owner, monetization. I think that too often, at least when I start to work with my clients or they come into my program, they're consistent, they're creating content, they're establishing thought leadership, they're showing up, maybe they're trying different things. And I'll
Mhm.
go through their content, I'll do an audit, maybe I'll look 30 days, 60 days, and maybe
Okay.
once or twice out of that 30 days or 60 days, they're talking about their offer and asking for the sale. So
Okay.
oftentimes, we as business owners are just not talking about our offer enough. We're not talking about our
Okay.
offer every single day. We're including so much fluff around the actual offer, right? So we'll say, here are
Okay.
3 ways to straighten your hair, and here's my product versus here's my product, right? So I think
Okay.
that what I would love to see in the business space, especially with women, is that we find more confidence in talking about what we're doing and how we're
Okay.
getting people through transformation and what that looks like and the results that we're getting. I just don't think that I think too often I'm seeing and hearing, I'm creating content, I'm showing up, I'm doing it, I'm dancing, I'm this, I'm that,
Right.
I bought a light, da 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 da. And then I come through and all the call to actions are follow me or give me a like or share this with a friend or
Yeah.
link in bio, right? There's no book a call. There's no DM
Yeah.
me the word so I can see if you're a fit. There's no 4 spots left. If you're ready, click the link in my bio to take the next step. There's no, this is how to work with me in Q4. And I think that's what grinds my bones is we're too quiet about the
Yeah.
changes that we're making in the world.
You hear that, ladies? You have to make the ask for the
Yeah.
sale. You have to make the ask. And, you know, that's a great part of your content planning is plan the ask in there. Make it part of it so you don't have to get ready to post it and like, oh, I'll ask next time, right? It
Yeah.
because it does come from confidence. Build that ask in because again, the cute ring lights and the best microphones, those things alone don't generate income. You
Mm-mm.
have to be able to ask for that sale. At least, like I said, ask for the discovery call
Yeah.
so that you can then get to asking for the sale. I love one of the things also you talk about in your bio is really working with heart centered business owners and the authentic piece. Because I think content production is one of those easy ways people can kind of get lost if they're not careful in trying to be the thing,
Mhm.
whatever that thing, the trending thing or the whatever it looks like.
Mhm.
But your authentic voice and what are some ways that you encourage your clients when they're creating content to remain authentic? Like, don't get distracted with, oh, that person's thing is in purple. Mine needs to be in purple.
Mhm. Mhm.
But if
Mhm.
purple's not your thing,
No.
how do you stay authentic to your true voice and continue to build on that voice? Because that's what the world wants. They want the authentic you and not a copycat of someone else.
Yeah, great question. I mean, it definitely goes back to that community piece, right? Again, just being surrounded, being encouraged, being poured into by
Mhm.
like-minded women or like-minded business owners, I think is so beneficial. The other thing I think when it comes to authenticity is creating more than you're consuming. I think oftentimes
Yeah.
you start to think about purple, or you start to think about, oh, I should vlog, or you start to think about, let me start a YouTube channel, or you start to think about, my dog should get a TikTok because of everything that you're consuming. So I think
Okay.
it's really important to set limits and time around your scroll time and
Okay.
set time aside for you to just be in creative flow. One of the things that we do in my group coaching program once a month is we have something called creative flow. And just for an
Okay.
hour a month, you come in and no distractions, no tabs open. What are we focused on? How are we getting creative, right? Is it writing your captions? Is it cleaning up your folders? Is it posting something in your drafts? Is it writing your outline to your next live? And it's you just tapping into your creative essence and releasing any of those limiting beliefs or doubts that you may feel of your content not being good enough. I
I
think
love
that's so
that.
so so important.
I love that. create more than you consume.
Mhm.
That's that's a basic statement, but that's so powerful
Yeah.
because that's where the distractions come in for people is you're so busy scrolling that you start your own voice, you start to suppress it because you're like, "Oh, but I'm not doing it like them and they got 1,000 likes," or,
Yep.
it's like don't get caught in the comparison game that
Yep.
can happen on social. Be your authentic self. So we've touched a little bit on your program, things you offered. I've worked with you before. Um, let's get to some sharing about what do you actually offer? What does that look like for people? Because I would imagine, again, of the women that I frequently hear that say, "Oh, Myra, like you show up so consistently,"
Mhm.
and I'm like, "Yeah," and it's because it's consistent. You think it's a whole lot,
Yeah.
but because it's consistent, it's not as often as you think.
Mm-mm.
So, how are some ways that folks can work with you that might be thinking, well, I have the ring light and the microphone and I'm creating the stuff, but is it working for you? That would just be my question to folks.
Yeah.
Is it doing anything for you?
Yeah. I mean, I always say that your content should be driving conversions, right? If we're posting and spending hours and pointing and editing and have a social media manager, we're paying an assistant and there's no ROI, we have to take a look at that and tweak that. At
Hmm.
this time, I'm doing 90-minute power strategy sessions where we're
Okay.
fleshing out, like you and I did, where we flesh out your content pillars. We get clear on your voice and how you desire to show up. And also, I'm going to push you and stretch you a little bit to try different content types that maybe you haven't tried in the past. And then next year, we're relaunching my group coaching program, the Courageous
Okay.
Content Academy. So most likely in Q1 of 2024. It is
Okay.
a beautiful, amazing, transformational program for heart-centered female entrepreneurs who want to grow and drive revenue in their business using social media without posting every single day, without doing the most. With I'm all about keeping it simple and
Yeah.
and collecting your bags at all times.
I love that. Simple and collect the bag.
That's
Listen, if you
it.
don't get anything else, simple and collect the bag. um, So success with saneness is it all really is set on the foundation of creating success with saneness. This thought of grind culture and, I can sleep when I'm dead. Listen, I am
Nope.
not about that life. It's not what I'm signing up for
Nope.
ever again in life.
Never.
So what does that look like for Jordan with you creating your own content and coaching others and just recently moved to a whole new state and still, I would say in the newlywed, category. What does that balance, that harmony look like for Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I'm in my soft girl era, like the kids are saying. But
Right.
I'm also my mantra for this quarter is let it be easy.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of, especially Q4, there's a lot of grind, hustle, foot on the
Right.
gas, hit the numbers. I just don't have it. We're 3 years into business and like I think of what God has for me and I
Yeah.
know it's it's legacy. It's not 1 year, it's not 5 years. And when I think of the grand scheme of like how long I'm going to be in business,
Yeah.
you got to slow down to speed up. And that's kind of the
Yeah.
energy that I'm in. One of the things that therapy has highlighted for me is the importance of just self. And so I
Okay.
do have something called Desire Day once a week where I just do what I desire. Is it a
Yeah.
massage? Is it shooting content? Is it going on a solo date? Is it hanging out with my husband? Like, what does that look like for
Yeah.
me? And it's been really transformational to continue to set those boundaries. Sometimes I do override my own boundaries, and that's something that
Yeah.
we're working through. But
Right.
I notice when the desires aren't met. I notice when I come in on Monday and I say I didn't have time to play. And so I really think it's important, even in the beginning stages, to ensure that there is spaciousness in your business and in your calendar, because yeah, you'll go crazy. You will burn out
Yeah.
for sure.
I love that. A desire day. You
Mhm.
know, because and I'm sure you're the same way. We love what we do. I
Mhm.
love, facilitating leadership and coaching women and high school students in the summer brings me absolute joy.
Same.
I am also a woman that has to keep a very close finger on the pulse of working, working, working because I do love it. So I have had to set very clear boundaries on start times and stop times.
Mhm.
When are we not working?
Mhm.
Not when we are, I'm clear on that, but when are we not working, right? And I love that you gave a name to that
Mhm.
of Desire Day because yeah, some days I'm like, I want to watch Discovery Channel today, Discovery ID. My
Okay.
husband's always like, why do you watch that
The
so much? I'm like,
killers.
yeah, watch that and stay in
Yeah.
my lounge clothes all day.
Yeah.
And at this point in my journey, I can absolutely do that for a day and I am guilt free.
Yeah.
I have
It's
no
okay.
guilt about it. I think that's how we get to keep showing up with
Yeah.
sanity, right? Success with sameness, because, um, you know, the I think the noise in the world says go faster, go more, go harder, go like just go, 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 go,
Mhm.
go. And I'm often saying to women that I work with, you have to be very intentional. There has to be an intention
Yeah.
set that you are going to give balance, grace to yourself. We
Amen.
can give grace to other people, but you have to give grace to yourself that if you wake up on Tuesday and you're like, no, that you
Mm-mm.
just go with no. That it's okay.
Yep.
Like, if there's some requirements that have to happen, let those happen. But
Mhm.
if it's, a day you're just kind of catching up on stuff, just be okay because
Agreed.
we're going to feel so much better when we wake up on Wednesday that we got that soul rest, that
Agreed.
we're ready now. But when we keep foot on the gas, you're like, ugh,
Agreed.
ugh,
It's not
it's
worth
too
it.
much.
It's not worth
No,
it. And then you start to what's the word I'm looking for? You start to what's that word when you something your business. You start to something your business. Uh
look, regret it, hate it,
Not
all the
regret.
things.
Yeah, all the things. It's that like I feel like it starts with a D, but you start to feel some type of resent. You start to
Yeah,
resent the business. And
yeah,
you start to think that it's your business that you don't like anymore, but it's the boundaries that you set that you failed to stick with that now you dislike your business. Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, that I've been there, done that. It's
Yeah,
not a game.
yeah, yeah, and I went through that when I first started my business because when you start, you feel like, oh my God, I got all these things to do and I gotta catch up to I don't know, what are we catching up
I
to?
don't
None of us
know.
figured
Right.
that out,
Right.
right?
I don't know.
And our souls, our spirits will say, sis, this is not it.
This ain't it.
Mm-mm. And it's just not sustainable. It's
Mhm.
just not sustainable. So I love, 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 love that. So ladies, at the end of this video, for sure, we're gonna have Jordan's links in the description so that if you want to, again, I use the hashtag sometime Maven approved.
Mm.
Jordan is Maven approved. I have
Yay.
worked with her and you know really getting that clarity. Clarity is so, I literally wrote this in my phone just yesterday,
Mhm.
that clarity creates opportunity for acceleration.
Beautiful.
Because, imagine when you're riding behind someone that's not clear about where they're trying to turn, they're
Mhm.
slow, they're fast, their blinkers on, they're turning it off, and you're behind them going, get out,
Wow.
right? But when you have clarity, like you're in that left lane and you are rolling, clarity provides the opportunity for acceleration. I say opportunity because not all clarity requires acceleration,
So
right? We don't
true.
have to
Yeah.
speed up all the time.
Agreed.
But if you need some clarity about what do I need to do? How do I need to do it? How do I create a process around it
Yeah.
so that you are creating content without the craziness and, as Jordan says, getting to the bag? Because
Period.
again, ring lights and microphones don't generate money.
No, they actually take your money.
That is valid. So Jourdan, thank you so much for sharing with me and Maven Nation today. And we've enjoyed this. I needed just some of this reminder. And one of the biggest things that have stood out for me in our conversation is the power of community.
Yeah.
For me, that's Maven Nation, and really, like, this journey is too tough to try to do it alone. I couldn't even imagine. I could not
Trash.
imagine.
Trash.
And yes, but absolute trash. And the joy that you get from being in community, especially with other Black women,
Yeah.
man, that just lights my soul on fire and brings me joy to even think about
Yeah.
the amazing women that I am connected to, that I've gotten connected to over the years, and even our start from Luminary, a digital platform for me. You lived in New York, but I'm here in Texas, and so don't discount that digital connection,
Yeah.
man. It keep growing it. It's worth it. So thank you, Jourdan, for joining us and sharing all of the amazingness that you are with us.
Thank you for having me. This was a beautiful conversation.
Maven, thank you for tuning in. To accelerate your journey of success with sameness, download our free video series at myrashaw.com/3moves. That's the number 3 moves. It's 3 easy videos offering practical steps for your growth. Make sure to stay connected by joining our email list and leave us a review and a 5-star rating if you feel it's worthy over on Apple Podcasts. You'll find all of these links in the show notes. Again, thank you for listening, Maven, and be sure and join us for the next episode where we will continue our journey of creating success with sameness.